We just actually witnessed a very emotional, chaotic moment. At the moment that I understand that family learned that a teenager is dead. At this point, we don't know exactly the cause, but neighbors say what we're looking at behind me is a result of a deadly shooting investigation. Well, I'm actually standing in what should be a parking space, but obviously I've got water just under my knees here. But again, you mentioned, yes, we're at Dania Point Shopping Center. This is off of the 95 right along Sterling Road. And as you look along here, you can see some of those stalled cars. We actually have a gentleman who's been here since 9 p.m. last night. You can see him over there actually talking with a Broward County Sheriff's deputy there. And that Sheriff's deputy has been driving around the area, getting people's information and alerting tow companies and just making sure that he can help those people out who are stranded out here. So we're also seeing these road hazards because their car is kind of all over the place. And what's really alarming, I really want to demonstrate this for you, is just how dark it is. So I want to bring the camera back and turn off the light because this is what we're seeing as we're driving up to this area. This is how dark it is. We're going to turn back on the light for you because some spots as we drive up to these cars, you don't really even see it until you approach the vehicle. So it's pretty alarming. When Rosenberg first announced he was stepping down, he cited his wife's health as the reason. But these documents detail a different relationship that may have been a factor. The destruction there was so incredible. I've been looking at pictures. You know, Andrew was, of course, a Category 5 hurricane leveling cities like Homestead and Florida City with winds as high as 165 miles per hour. 44 people died, 82,000 businesses and 150,000 homes were either destroyed or damaged. I mean, the heartbreak just looking at all of that on your screen. You see that wheelchair on the ground right there? It's turned over. Well, this is a result of a man in that wheelchair being struck by an 18-wheeler. Police say the driver took off from the scene, but investigators also tell us that driver may have no idea he actually hit someone. Yeah. If you like Wendy's, you're going to want to listen to this. The popular fast food chain making some menu changes due to a possible E. coli outbreak. Yeah. The CDC reporting that nearly 40 people have gotten sick in the Midwest, 10 of which have been hospitalized. The victims are between ages 6 and 91. Right now, investigators are still trying to pinpoint the exact cause of this outbreak. Well, do you like Bed Bunny?
I do. How can you not? And then he opened that restaurant in Brickell. You know, partner there. I mean, he is on fire right now.
You know, it's funny. I was jamming out to, well, I was listening to some bachata, but I realized, I was driving to work and I realized, oh my God, I listen to reggae, reggaeton, bachata. I've become my parents. Like when I was little, I was like so embarrassed sometimes.
And now
I'm like, that's all I listen to. I'm my mom and dad, so.
I feel like it's inevitable.
Yeah.
All right, time now is 6:22.
My photojournalist, Tony Phelan, and I are walking to speak with a man whose neighborhood is flooded, but it is too deep for us to drive. So we're actually going to leave our car here and walk down so that we can share his story.
In 250 feet, take a right on Riverland Road.
If you think this is bad, just wait for it. It gets worse and deeper.
Yeah, I don't usually expect to see a body of water looking outside my window. It doesn't belong here.
This is Flamingo Park after Wednesday's heavy rain and flooding overwhelmed these streets.
I was just watching cars go by. Some of them would make it through and some would just go and then they'd stop. We had a couple of neighbors who stalled right here and we took them in for a little while and they made arrangements to get picked up on a kayak. They got rescued by on a kayak.
Anthony Lentini shared pictures from that night showing how neighbors commuted. But now, a day and a half after the rainfall, for residents here, the only way out is through it. Have you been able to leave your house or are you just kind of trapped?
Trapped. I walked through it to go to 7-Eleven way early this morning. It was probably not a great idea. I don't know what. Slipping on stuff. And
he says he called the city and they told him they're experiencing issues with calls dropping, but they are working to help all the residents but don't have a specific timetable on drainage.
I mean, I've heard neighbors maybe with more experience saying it'll be a few days. So I don't know. I mean, we've had flooding not this severe and, you know, within a day or so it recedes, but this is several days, I think, before this is gone.
He says thankfully he lives high up enough that his home stayed dry, although he can't say the same for everyone in Flamingo Park. But the hope here is the water will be cleared sooner than later.
That's what I'm hoping for, that they'll get out and clear the storm drains or whatever it is they do to help this water move along.
So Cherney Amara taking us live to that complex with what we're learning from neighbors about the investigation. Much quieter there now, Cherney.
Hey, yes, good afternoon. So right now we're in front of the Spectra at Plantation, and this is where, as you mentioned, we saw SWAT officers just swarm this complex. But, you know, we also saw other officers focus their attention on the side of that apartment complex where we see a bush. That is where neighbors say someone was badly beaten before police arrived. This is the scene from above. Long guns and a tactical operation.
I came outside this morning to take my daughter to school, and all I heard the police say was, go back inside the house.
The neighbor we spoke to asked to stay anonymous, but he was one of multiple residents told to shelter in place as police bust down his neighbor's door.
Someone got beat up last night. I don't know if I'm that result in the action that happened.
Neighbors say 7 people inside that apartment unit were detained. Our cameras captured 4 of them being handcuffed, 2 women and 2 men. All of them, except for 1 man, were released. No, you guys okay? Yeah? We tried to catch up with them after being let go, but they wouldn't talk. Meanwhile, back on scene at the apartment unit, police raided.
Who is that?
Hi, we're with Channel 6. Do you guys want to talk about what happened earlier this morning?
Nothing happened here. It just was a domestic violence. Nothing happened here. We don't want to talk.
Domestic violence?
That's it.
Police only confirming they were here to execute a search warrant. But multiple neighbors also noted that someone was beaten overnight.
The guy got beat up really, really bad. We got to call an ambulance for him. And I don't know if he told the police that the guys down there did it to him.
Before clearing the scene, police responded collecting evidence and investigating around the bushes where neighbors say that beating happened. Again, all police are saying is that they were here to execute a search warrant. It's not clear if that alleged assault also played a role in the response. Now, I did mention that we did see that 1 man, at least from our vantage point, stayed in handcuffs. Now, we shouted out to that man asking him why he was being arrested. All he said was, I have warrants. For now, reporting live in Plantation, Cherney Amara, NBC 6 News. South Florida is a tourism hub, and some of our busiest spots from Las Olas down to Ocean Drive are lined with bars, restaurants, and nightlife serving up tasty craft cocktails. In the U.S., the sale of spirits has grown into a billion-dollar business, with some sought-after concoctions contributing the most.
We know about the Mai Tai, we know about the Pina Colada, we know about our rum punch, for sure, Planters Punch, the Mojito, which I know all of Florida goes crazy over mojito, and that's straight out of Cuba. I
spoke virtually with Charmin Hines-Smith, a mixologist in Jamaica who shared the Caribbean's influence to America's adult beverage scene. Rum.
Rum is prolific across the Caribbean. We grow sugarcane here, and of course that is the only ingredient that makes rum.
As the bar and beverage lecturer from the University of Technology, Jamaica, Hines-Smith helped me rummage through some history.
For Jamaica, we still produce rum from the ground up, from scratch. So we're one of the few islands that's still doing that. So it's still very much a rich part of our heritage.
In the 17th century, the Caribbean was the epicenter of the world's sugar production. And they made sugar by crushing sugarcane and boiling the juices. The excess waste was called molasses.
We use the molasses now, add yeast to that and water, and it creates fermentation.
That, however, is only about 7% alcohol. But when you distill it by heating the liquid,
that's where the magic happens. So when it turns into vapor and condenses and comes back into liquid, it goes up to as high as 80% alcohol.
Science and history, something everyone in South Florida can learn more about and experience at this year's Taste of the Caribbean Islands Festival when Hines-Smith and her team visit Miramar.
I'm going to share a couple of cocktails with the persons attending the festival. Of course, they will be rum-based. Don't get it twisted, nothing else but rum. But I'm going to make it easy for you, so you can probably go home and try some of them.
A unique experience, she says, is guaranteed to be authentic.
It's our spirit, it's our culture, it's Caribbean. It's the essence of being Caribbean.
Again, this is just a small snapshot of everything that you can enjoy at Miramar's Taste of the Caribbean Islands Festival. There will also be food, vendors, music, and so much more for the entire family. The festival is this Saturday from 3 to 11 p.m. at Vizcaya Park. We have more information on NBC6.com. By the way, the festival is free.